the press release came out yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, and you said that you were disappointed by the decision. Why is that?
Well, as I said, Patrick, in my opinion, no case should go on 5.5 years. But there are times when the prosecution is faced with issues and situations. For instance, the laboratories here in New Mexico, the crime laboratories, are very backed up. So it may take 3, 6, even a year to get vital information, evidence back, so you can use it in trial. By holding the state responsible, even for defense continuances that are acquiesced by the state, really puts the state in a bind. Makes it hard to prosecute cases, makes it more difficult, puts undue pressure on attorneys who are already overworked and have a big caseload. In addition, we have a 10-day rule that requires us to give discovery and evidence to the defense. Well, that's very difficult for a police officer to do in that amount of time. But hard pressing the prosecution into doing things quickly, you know what happens. Mistakes get made. The prosecutor wants enough time to make good decisions, because good decisions in the beginning mean good answers and fair answers on the other end. So, in addition, in order to hold the state responsible for a speedy trial violation, it is my belief that there has to be some prejudice shown by the state against the defendant. In this particular case, we're talking about the Flores case, the defendant wasn't in jail. Now, I understand, I'm a firm believer that if the defendant's in jail, then we should try the case as soon as possible. But when the defendant's not in jail, when he's on release, then there's no real prejudice. In other words, the court assumed there was prejudice. I'm hoping that the AG has agreed to present the case to the Supreme Court, and I'm hoping the Supreme Court will find that there was no prejudice to this defendant, even though the facts of the case are pretty egregious.
Is there anything that we should know, in terms of how this guy is getting out of jail now? Is
he wasn't in jail. When he was put on a bond when the appeal was filed, so he wasn't in jail at the time of the decision came down.
How many years have you worked in law enforcement? Have you ever seen these kind of overturned convictions?
I've been in law enforcement for 25 years, going on 30, and I've seen reversals that do real damage, but this one is particularly offensive to me. We have individual convicted of the crime in a 5 or 6 day jury trial with under 4 hours of jury time. Now it's free. Now, that's our justice system. I believe in it, but it's hard to swallow.
How does this affect the victim's rights?
Well, it affects the victim, as you can well imagine. I mean, 5 years of the victim's family was pretty much in limbo. We get the case, we prosecute the case, we get a conviction. Now, they get justice, but they don't get their child back. So there's a certain melancholy, but they feel that there's a sense of justice, and to take that away from them for legal, Now, I'm not criticizing the appellate court. They do what they believe is right based on the law and the facts. I disagree. But I will say, and I've said this from the day one, that justice delayed is justice denied, and there's no doubt about that.